It's time to get started, so if you want to take a seat and we'll get rolling here. First of all, we'll have WE7OMG, Carl, come on up and talk about some upcoming events. We're waiting and waiting and waiting.
During your testimony, it's a long way in the front, right? All right. Well, recap. That's easy. Recap. We all got full on ice cream till we were sick. No, we had a lot of fun. There was, I think we had counted 43 people or something like that at the ice cream social a couple of weeks ago. It was a really good turnout. We filled up the back room of the ice cream social. We had a good time. Put it on your calendar next year. Come out and have some ice cream with us. Or if you don't eat ice cream, like a lot of people don't, come out and have a sandwich. I suggested to Noji that we do some after club stuff occasionally over there because they're open till like 11 at night or something like that. So anyway, we had a lot of fun. There was pictures online. I think there was pictures in the newsletter. I noticed he couldn't resist putting me in front of, putting me behind that banana split as usual. Yeah. Anyway, so if you missed it, there's, like I said, there was a bunch of good pictures in there about it. Next. Now this seems like it's a long way away. I mean, we just went into October. And I don't know, it's less than 100 days to Christmas. So the annual 7-6ers Santa's Net we do. We've been doing it how many years? Oh, geez, 12, 15 years, something like that. No, it hasn't been 15. Anyway, the 23rd and 24th, they call it Christmas Adam and Christmas Eve. The 23rd and 24th, 6 o'clock on the 146.76 repeater. We don't have a node to attach it to, like the 9090 this year, but you can get in on Echolink if you're away from home and want to get in on it or want to listen to it. You can get in there on Echolink at the W7SP-R. And we will announce that on our nets and stuff in the future. It'll be a good way. Yeah, bring your kids, your grandkids, put them on the radio, let them talk to Santa, and let him know what he wants for Christmas. It's a lot of fun to listen to. Now, the Wednesday is the 24th. We haven't, as a group, we haven't talked about whether we're having the regular 7-6ers net that day. I suspect we might. If people want to come, great. If they don't, that's fine too. But there's never been any, requirement to be there. But because it's on Christmas Eve, that will be something to look forward to. Now, I got something to announce here that's not on our list here. And, we appreciate everybody that showed up for the swap meet too. I know that's our annual fundraiser. I don't know if Joel will say anything about that, but that was great to see people out there. But at the swap meet, I talked to, Wade approached me on, as many of you know, the Jackson Hole Area Amateur Radio Club Net, which was going on for, Mick had it going on for 27 years. He lost his contract with the ski resort. Actually, they priced him right out of it. And he had to pull all of his equipment down on his 2-meter site and all of that stuff. And so with the health reasons that he had and everything else, he decided to give up, which made a lot of people sad. There's many of us that frequent that net on Monday nights. Some people that never go to anything else, no club meetings, no other nets, no other events that we do, but they do show up there, which some of those people kind of concern me a little bit because we're going to have a hard time finding them again. But anyway, Wade approached me wondering if we could continue that net on a local basis. And my counsel to him was maybe we just make a courtesy email to Mick and find out if it's okay. And if he decides he wants to get back on the air and do it again, we can part the waters and we can pull the Jackson Hole net back. As many of you know, years ago there was a dam break at Teton Dam broke, and that net kind of mushroomed out of that. Connections back to the Wasatch Front from when they got disconnected from the world during that. So for those reasons and others, there's very few hams up there. It was kind of a social net for those kind of reasons. So Wade approached me about this and decided he needed to talk to his family about it, keeping that time, that 8 o'clock on Monday night time slot, which is difficult for some. He does family home evening, but 8 o'clock works for him. So 8 o'clock worked for me. I let Mick know about that. Also, he said he never knew that there was any kind of conflict. He said, yes, he would get us the roles that he had, so we knew what his current people checking in. We know a lot of them. But so Wade is looking he's got his dad here to help. Hal's going to help him if he needs backup, and he's still looking for any other backup that maybe in case they're out of town or for whatever reasons, be net control for that. But anyway, so that will continue at 8 o'clock on Monday nights on the 146.76 repeater. The reason we're doing it with that one, we have the biggest footprint there, up and down the Wasatch Front. He decided to call it, right as it stands right now, the Wasatch Net. And we will mix it. We can use the Dallas reflector, the 9454 reflector, and continue on that. And he may be able to dive in on that on his 70 centimeter repeater up there if he needs to get into us that way. So anyway, so it will continue. My joke was, should we call it the Jackson Hole Memorial, Jackson Hole Memorial Net? It didn't really sound appropriate. It was just a joke anyway. I actually shared that with Mick. But anyway, appreciate Wade jumping in and taking over that. And hopefully that people that, I think he's kind of committed to that same format, the same time slot, the same repeater. And hopefully we get, some good attendance on that, and then we'll keep announcing it on the 76ers net and other places. So we appreciate Wade and Hal and whoever else helps out with that. And I will fire up that Dallas reflector about 5 minutes to the hour on Monday nights. And if I'm not there, I'm sure Chad will cover that also. That's about all I've got. Anybody have any questions on that? I tried to cover that on the fly. Oh, I'm getting one more announcement Linda wanted me to make. On the 18th of this month is the Lunch Bunch. They're doing it at the Black Bear Diner. That's a Saturday, 1 p.m. here in Orem, the Black Bear Diner here in Orem. And they always get together somewhere. It's somewhere different all the time. So she and Lila tag team that Lunch Bunch, and we try and support them. If you have a occasion to go down to Black Bear or have lunch on Saturday, come down and rub shoulders with the rest of the people, the ham community there. That's all I got. Any questions? Thank you much.
Advance the slide, Cole.
Huh?
Advance the slide.
Advance the
So we
slide.
know who's next.
Well, we know it's Joe.
Is it me? Yay!
You need somebody, you got enough voice to do this?
Applaud for me, wow. You have to excuse my voice. I've been fighting with laryngitis for a couple of days. I couldn't talk. My wife says she's never been happier. All right, so recap on the UVARC swap meet. We made enough money to pay for the porta potties for winter or summer field day. So no more behind the bush. Okay, do-it-yourself night will be next month on the 6th, first Thursday of the month, from 6:30 to 8 at the Orem Senior Friendship Center, which is way down the block that way. So if you want to volunteer to teach a do-it-yourself topic, talk to Noji. And our annual potluck's coming up in 2 months, in December, from 6 to 8 p.m., once again, the Orem Friendship Center. So if you make it for do-it-yourself night, you should be able to make it for potluck. Beginning in November, I'll post the potluck spreadsheet. I'm going to try to do it a different way, because it seems like every time I post it, they change their security features and people get locked out and all that stuff. So we'll find another way to do it. All right, so let me see what else. It's 110 days until Winter Field Day. And that'll be in Linden. So you'll hear more on that too. Great time. Listen to Carl's talk to South Africa and pizza. All right, next is Gavin.
All right. Oh, it was so good to see you guys. Some exciting stuff happening with UCARES. UCARES just last Tuesday announced over their net, we have a brand new requirements for our 4 levels of certification. And so if anybody here is working on their levels of certification, we've modified them with the idea that if you were to be deployed, what would that person look like? And so we went through all of them, we cleaned them up, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. They are on the website at ucares.org right now, and you can see those. And is anybody here working on any of the levels of certification? Got quite a few hands. So there's a little catch to this, because when you have new requirements come in, what do you do when you are working on the old requirements? And so over the net, and we'll get this out in an email as well, the goal is to have a cutoff by January 1st. So if you're working on them, you have 3 months to do as much as you can. Now, however, if you're already working, let's say you complete up to level 3 and you are now, you didn't get to level 4 and it's January 15th. What you do is you take all the things that you did for your previous level 4 and you map them across. Yeah, so you're not gonna miss out too much. But I'll tell you, I'm really excited because when I went through the original 4 levels of certification, and I'm going to go back and I want to see if I can just go through the 4 levels again. But I have found that if you really want to up your game, your emergency communication skills, these 4 levels are great. Anybody who's not a member of UCARES, you probably like, what are you talking about? I don't want to take these courses. UCARES is an acronym for the Utah County Amateur Radio Emergency Services. Free to join, doesn't cost a thing. Doesn't even require you to spend all your time. But what it does offer is a connection with what I call the premier emergency communication group in Utah County. It's got a lot to offer. You can take and participate in what you can and what you can't, at least be connected by emails. It's really simple to get there. Just go to the website. I think it's right up there. There it is, ucares.org. You can also see our nets. We have our nets. They're really busy ones on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. But just a great way to be connected. If you tried to sign up over the last couple weeks, we've had a few technical issues. I don't know if you guys know Taylor Foote. Guy's a whiz on tech. He got it fixed. So it's a temporary fix because he's redoing the website. He's got crazy skills. It's awesome. Anybody have any questions on UCARES or levels of certification? All right, well, come and enjoy it. There we go, Lynn.
Well, I'll be brief. I promised Noji I'd be less than 5 minutes. I just wanted to introduce myself. Many of you have been involved in ERC for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and many of you have struggled in the past with how do I communicate upline, how do I communicate with the leadership of the church and so forth. And so I just wanted to let you know I've been called as a service missionary to oversee the Utah area. And we are organizing emergency response communication so that everyone knows the proper path to follow. And because I represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints doesn't mean you have to even be a member to be involved. It's the whole concept is to provide emergency communications in emergency situations. We're in the process of organizing a database. This is something that has been developed by the Idaho Hams, Kevin Hemsley. And I am currently looking for someone who is computer skilled to help develop the Utah area portion of that database. If anyone would be interested in and has that skill, let me know. And anyone that would like to be involved in this organization for the ERC program, please feel free to contact me. We need everyone we can get to get this organized. We're trying to organize very specifically from wards to stakes to coordinating councils to to the area 70s and so forth. And even though we use ward stakes and coordinating councils and so forth, we're trying to have that considered as areas, so not to be so church specific. So like I say, whether you're a member, whether you're active, whether you're a non-member, we'd love to have you if you'd like to participate in the emergency response communications. Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How can we get our stakes involved? Some of us have stakes that are very involved. Some of us have stakes that we could not force them to get involved. And even though we still hold our local nets, our stake nets, because they were started years ago and we continue with them, but our stake doesn't support us. How do we get them on board?
The problem in the past has been that the hams or those who are involved in communications are trying to push uphill.
Yes.
And that doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So just recently, this whole program has been approved and it's being organized from the top down through the area 70s and down through the stakes and the area welfare managers. And so with now that they're on board, we're anticipating that will all be we'll be able to change that and get all these stakes involved. So like I say, for those who are interested, let me know. We'd love to have you involved. Yes.
Send you an email, you can put in search you up.
I can, let's see, can I type in this? Is this? I'll just, let's see.
You can have Norris send out an email.
Hey, Lynn, let me help you.
Okay, yeah. Put in LH. See, this is why I'm looking for someone who's an expert in computers.
While he's typing, is there going to be a connection with the Linden ERC?
Absolutely.
LH,
All of the Utah area we're organizing. So
go for it.
Can you?
Hey, hang on, Dalen.
I'll put in this email, LH.
Go for it.
So the email is lh@lhadfield.com.
How can we shine a light on those lame stakes?
Like I say, we're working to get them on board.
Could you verify?
Go ahead, ask.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Can you sort of demonstrate or explain what your net is going to be like? Is that what it is, the net? You're going to have to shoot through?
No, there'll be multiple nets. And so what we're hoping to accomplish is we'll have a team that works with the Area 70 and the Coordinating Council. And they will probably organize their own net through the Coordinating Councils, which is multiple stakes and wards. And the hope is that we can build that communication up through the wards and the stakes so that they report to a team in the Coordinating Council, and they're the ones that then will work with the leadership.
Is this right?
That's right.
Okay.
Last questions? I don't know, my time's probably up. Yes.
You started the net in our state.
I'm sorry,
You started the net in our state. Do we want that information or?
I think there are a lot of stake nets, and we'll be working with you to reorganize. But currently, continue, and keep your communications specialist active. Thanks.
All right, we've got Noji up next with some FCC information.
I will be short. Okay, sorry, no offense, Lynn. Yeah, I don't have any choice. Got to give plenty of time over here to Doug. But anyway, before I jump into that, let me just say that a couple weeks ago we had the Orem City drill. It was a great success. A lot of people helped out and so forth.
A lot of people participated. Almost half of the people in Orem checked in and were accounted for. It was a really great thing. And for the first time, Gavin, who was out here introducing the UCARE stuff, he was the one who was actually leading the city net on that. He did a wonderful job. And also, we had Kent help out, and my wife, and then there were others too. Who did I forget? Anyway, and people helped out. It was great. We so appreciate everybody who did that. The end on that. Because of the government shutdown, the FCC is also shut down right now. So that means if you try to look up anything like your own call sign or anything like that, you won't be able to find anything on the FCC site. Plus, if you try to get your license, if you try to upgrade, if you try to get a call sign, anything, it will not happen until that shutdown is lifted. So you'll just have to be patient until that happens. Right now, as a matter of fact, there is an exam session happening as we speak right out here in the hallway, thanks to Dave and Sean, who is organizing this under the Laurel VEC. Hopefully they'll get their call signs when the government, if they're not shutting down, they'll shut up, but, or they'll come back up. At any rate, so just want to let you know about that. There was something else about the FCC. Oh, yeah, so I'm not even going to talk about that. Okay, Carl brought it up. Thanks a lot, Carl. Okay, so right now, the ARRL is entertaining petitions and so forth that we're doing for the government. We're trying to petition the government to push through another bill, one for the Senate, one for the House, that's encouraging HOAs to open up and allow reasonable amateur radio antennas, which right now they actually cannot. If they don't want to allow them, they have that right. If you sign their HOA agreement, you're bound by it. As simple as that. But these two bills will kind of skirt around that a little bit. I don't know the wordage of it, but they're going to somehow help out. I wish them luck. We as a club actually was one of the first to get in on those two petitions, and to sign up and get our senators and our congressmen to listen on that. So hopefully they'll pay attention. But anything more, Carl?
No, I just thought I was used.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Time for Sean, the good part.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is without a doubt one of the most exciting parts for me. This is our new hams. So everybody, please look over the list. Look at our new hams. This is over roughly the last month. Okay. Do we have any of our new hams here today by any chance? No new hams here today. Is that because the FCC is closed? All right, well, let's give them a hand. Okay, and we have one upgrade. Do we have any other? Okay, is that you?
No, I upgraded as well.
Okay, what did you upgrade as? General? Yeah. And your call sign?
83LIX.
Name? Perfect.
I also upgraded K85 EZQ to roads.
And you are? General. Congratulations. Everybody a big hand for them. Okay, anybody else? Yes. Fantastic. Congratulations. All right. It is exciting. It truly is. All right. Anybody new here tonight? This is the first time they've been to a meeting.
I'm Terry Hammond at AJ7 EDL. Got my tag back in 2019, but didn't really pursue it. And so I had semi-retirement. upgraded general smash jailer? Learning.
We're all still learning. And I've got a long way to go. So congratulations. Okay, and? What? Sabra, okay. Hard of hearing, old. Congratulations, welcome. Okay, and your call sign?
AI7UG.
AI7UG. Congratulations, welcome. Anybody else that we missed? Yes?
So I did, and they sent me the paper for all the meetings.
Congratulations. All right. Anybody else that we may have missed? Fantastic. All right, to Chad for introductions.
Hey, Jack, can I interrupt for one quick second?
Sure.
I know time's gone by here. Lawrence got a new roof here a week or two ago. You know, some people have been asking why it hasn't been on the air. He didn't have his antenna back up. I know the club went out and put an antenna up for him. They need help getting that antenna back up. And just thought I'd put that out there in case people have time.
I'll go help.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a day that you set aside to do that or anything?
I haven't. I'm just letting
Okay, talk to him, he'll do it. All right, okay, time to get to our main main presenters tonight. We'll start off tonight with Doug Pelley, and he's gonna talk to us about some power options. So, Doug.
There we go, old airliners, there we go. Let's see, how do I fix this? Here we go. Okay. I've been licensed for 50 years this year, hold an advanced class license I've had for decades. My profession has been in the radio communications industry, mostly for the last 30 years of it, mostly mountaintop work on various equipment that you find on mountaintops. I'm still learning. Got to emphasize that. Someone said already, we're still learning. No matter what your level of experience, how long you've been around, the learning never stops. And if you're interested further in my background, you can look me up on my bio on my QRZ page. I'm going to talk more about electrical power issues is what we're really going to do. In fact, one of our attendees in our meeting here tonight speared this whole thing for me to get going on this topic. A lot of hams asked me about electrical issues and stuff. And a lot of folks were hitting me up for this stuff here the past few weeks or so. And then I was talking to Wade over here, and he had a problem. We'll have him come up and explain his situation here as we move on a little bit. So I don't have much for visual aids, but one thing I do have is we can talk about fuses. I'm going to talk about, more than anything else, why your radio is not receiving the power that it should receive. And it's so common that you install a radio, or you've had a radio installed for years, it's worked for a long time, you power it up, you're receiving with it just fine, and you push the pickle to key the transmitter and poof, the radio shuts down. Unkey the mic, boop, comes right back up. Key the mic again, it shuts down. What is wrong with my radio? Well, odds are, in fact, 99 point some odd little percentage of the time, your problem is you've got some resistance in the power lead between your power source and your transmitter. Most common problem, something's wrong. And the most common issue is a fuse. I only have one visual aid that I brought. This actually was not running a radio, but it's still a good example. This is an 8-gauge wire and a 20-amp fuse in this. I had this in one of my own vehicles. I was using this particular circuit here to power a lithium iron phosphate battery charger, a 12-volt to 12-volt charger. It's a it's a 15-amp charger. Power consumption, maximum power consumption on it's about 16 amps. And the run to that in this 8-gauge wire was no more than a couple of feet. And that's fed off of a 6-gauge, which comes off of the vehicle electrical system. No issues there. But all of a sudden, my power supply or my charger there shut down on me. And I went and looked at it after it was shut down, put my fluke across the leads, and I had 12 volts or whatever it was, no problem at all. Turned it on, the load went to nothing. First place I went to is the fuse. And I could see that this fuse, I'm going to pass this around, I could see that this fuse was melted. And you can see even some melting in the fuse holder. It's a 20-amp fuse. The load wasn't even 20 amps. In fact, a 20-amp fuse should hold 17, 18 amps continuous with no issue at all with respect to the fuse, but maybe not with respect to the fuse holder. The spade fuses here are much, much better than the little tubular glass 3AG type fuses. In fact, I'll get into that. Many, many a time I've gone professionally to a vehicle, usually a vehicle, and radio doesn't work, or the radio works till you key the mic, because you're loading it down, and then it doesn't work. You check the fuse, the glass fuse, the element's in there, the element's good. The solder has melted off of one of the metal tin ends of the glass tube because of heat buildup, not because the fuse was overloaded by its amp rating, but because it was overloaded just by heat buildup because of resistance in the fuse holder, the way they clamp onto the fuses. Very, very common. In fact, tell a story from a public safety agency that I had back, one of the Indian police departments. They got some new bubblegum light bars. And the load on this light bar was something like 30 amps or so. And their mechanic said, because I was taking care of the radios, and the mechanic said, "What's going on here? Can you help us with this? We're constantly blowing 40 amp fuses." Took a look at the load, and it's 30 amps, a little bit less. I knew right off the top of my head. Those are glass fuses into these little clip type holders you can get for vehicles. Most of you have probably seen those things. They get resistive on the ends. They build up heat, and the solder that holds the fuse element to one of the end caps melts, the fuse opens. Even though it wasn't overcurrent, wire gauge was good. The spade fuse helps that situation immensely, but here's a classic example that it's not really. I'll pass this out. Everybody wants to look at it. And I'll give you a little demonstration of this. I did this little video in the backyard the other day using a hose to represent this. Let's see if we got audio here. You power up your power supply and power up your transceiver. And you see that it reads 13.8 volts or whatever the proper voltage should be. You power up your receiver and it's receiving just fine because your receiver is requiring that much current. Now you hit the transmit button. And look what happens. Your voltage drops to virtually nothing, your transmitter doesn't shut, your radio pretty much powers down. That's what resistance in your line, your feed line has to do. Got a train coming here. That resistance is usually caused by a loose connection or possibly a real culprit quite often, is the fuse holder, where you've got a lot of resistance built up between the ends of the fuse and the fuse holder. This is especially common in the 3AG type, the glass tubular fuses. The spade fuses are not as prone to that, but with some wear and tear, or if it's gotten hot here and there, you can get some corrosion and resistance where the spade mates with the female socket inside the fuse holder. Or it could be a splice in the wire, especially if it's a crimp splice, not a good soldered splice, that has possibly come loose or gotten resistive or something like that. Those are your typical causes of this situation. And once you free the resistance by tightening up whatever is loose or whatever, you've got voltage to give current to your transmitter now. Decent little visual demonstration of that. Well, electricity and water are one and the same. Pressure is volts, water flow is amps, and the water moving a rock down the sidewalk, that's watts. That's your energy in use there, whatever it does there. So I hope that might help a little bit, understand a little bit better. Another issue is your wire gauge might be the right gauge for your transmitter, for your transceiver. Typically, you buy a ICOM, Yaesu, Kenwood, whatever, comes with a nice little power cable with ends. You usually put Anderson power poles on them. Some people, like myself, custom tailor them to lengths and that sort of thing. And but I know someone that the length of cable was too short for the distance he needed to run to his power source. And then the power source itself was another issue. And I'm going to have Wade come up and tell his story that actually got this going here.
Thank you. So, grab my notes here. I put a backup power system together in my house, and it's 4 12-volt, 280 amp batteries. So they're pretty good size. And I have them connected together in parallel, which gives me 14,336 watt hours and 1,120 amp hours total. And if you know much about home battery systems, that's actually more than a Tesla Powerwall. And it's almost a third, I put it together for almost a third the price of a Tesla Powerwall, but that just gives you kind of an idea of how much power we're talking about. And I installed that thing and put in a 4,000 watt 12 volt inverter. And then I put in a transfer switch and then moved most of the breakers in my house over to this transfer switch. And so now, if the power goes out, I can switch over to my backup power and I can run almost everything in my house except for my 220 stuff, my air conditioner and my dryer. And I figure I can hang out in my cool basement and put up a clothesline if I need to in an emergency. And it's mostly done. I ran into one problem, and that is after we installed the whole thing, we discovered that when you switch the little button to toggle from the grid to the backup power, there's a little solenoid that fires, and that solenoid requires 220. And my whole system is 110 or 120. And so it needs that just little teeny little just burst of 220 to get the solenoid to fire. And so my electrician for 3 months now has been scouring the world asking every connection that he has to try to find if we can find a 120 replacement solenoid to swap that out. It does have a manual lever you can pull to switch it, but I want the button to work. Anyway, so I set this whole thing up, And then one of the last steps is I want to be able to power my radio off of my power supply. But it doesn't make any sense to take DC and convert it to AC and then convert it back to DC with the power supply that runs my radio. Well, if my power bank is already DC, I should just bypass my inverter and go straight to my radio. And even though the power bank is about that close to my radio, I needed 42 feet worth of cable because there's a door here and then there's ducts, because this is in a storage room, there's duct work and some stairs. You just can't go straight over to it. So I had to go up and over and all the way around to get over to my bus bars that my batteries are connected to. So I bought 50 feet of 10 gauge wire. Just want to make sure I got the gauge right. 50 feet of 10 gauge wire, ended up needing 42 feet of it to get all the way over. I installed my good friend installed Anderson power poles on the ends of it for me. And then I ran it down and I connected my radio to it. And now at any time I want, I can switch over from my AC to DC power supply over to my batteries, and it works great. I'm on the radio and it can run for days and days and days. I mean, I don't even know how long. It can probably run for months off of that battery. And it all works. 10 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters, and then it's time for the 6-meter net. And I flip over to it and I'm listening to the net and I go and my radio goes, what the heck was that? And it really startled me. It's the first time my radio has ever just turned off by itself. Turn it back on, I'm listening. The moment I hit the push to talk button, the radio goes off. So then I start asking around, what the heck is going on? And that's when Doug came in and saved the day. Where did he go? Oh, there you are. Couldn't even see you. Is that the whole story?
I think so.
Okay. Interestingly, it's not the wire, because as part of our diagnosis, I took a little 30 amp battery and brought it over, and it's the one I use for POTA, set it next to my radio using the exact same 10 gauge wire, about 1.5 feet worth, and plugged it in, 6 meter, works just fine. So that should give you a clue.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, don't let me forget, how are we doing on time? Okay, Larry Driscoll, you got volunteered. Where's Larry? There you are. You got volunteered to talk about some issues with Anderson power poles here when I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I was told you were volunteered. So, there we go. Okay, let's see. Here's an interesting thing. Well, let's do this first. I made this little video. What am I doing here? I do videos for one of my friends in Arizona's YouTube channel on technical topics. Forgive me here. Well, I gotta go retrieve this thing again. Sorry. That's what he calls my videos there, because I like to be anonymous from the general public. I don't want all the email flack and all that garbage. But my friends can know. Where is this thing here? Sorry, I had it up there and I just punched the wrong. Here we go, right here. It's this one. Must be not too long ago about why his power supply was going into overcurrent shutdown when he operated his 100-watt HF radio on it. His power supply was a 15 amp power supply. And if you look at the specs on your typical modern 100-watt HF radio, typically the current specs is in the 15 to 20 amp ballpark. And unlike your typical dual band radio that's into usually a good antenna system that's got pretty much a perfect match on it, the transmitter power doesn't vary hardly at all on that. But on an HF radio, depending on the band, the match to your antenna, and other variables, the power consumption can vary widely. I'll show you right here. The bottom scale here is the current, and watch when I key the transmitter here. We're looking at right at about 16 amps, and you'll notice that the SWR is about 2 to 1 on this particular antenna here, and I'll legally ID here when we're done making the recording. I can correct that mismatch with the antenna tuning unit, and notice that the current is still 16 amps. Not that much of a mismatch. Let's get rid of the tuner and we'll tune around a little bit and watch the output power vary as the current varies. Watch the SWR changing, watch the SWR coming up, watch the output power starting to fold back, and of course the current is going to fold back right there with that mismatch. So if you're transmitting into an antenna that has that slight mismatch on that 15 amp power supply, looking right there, you're about 14 amps there, 13, 14 amps. That power supply should handle it. We get your match to where it's good and where it should be. The current is up to, I'll just use the tuner here to correct that, and you're back up there. Well, look at that. Right there on this frequency, that's up to about 18 amps. Right there with that change on this particular frequency with this particular tuner in the antenna and the match between that and all those variables there. So you can see that current is varies quite a bit. Also, typically the higher the frequency, the less efficient the devices, the amplifier devices are. And thus, if I was on, let's say, 20 meters, current would probably be even a little bit higher yet. And just to show that, we'll be on 75 meters here. I switched from the antenna to a load. And so we'll transmit here. And notice our current into a 50 ohm dummy load, perfect match. There's 100% out, so 100 watts out, and our current is about 16 amps. Notice there's SWR is a perfect match into the dummy load here. Now let's go to 20 meters. And notice our current is about 18 to 19 amps. Just because of the efficiency of the device is much better at the lower frequency on 75 meters than it is on the higher frequency. So all of those variables come into play as far as power consumption is concerned, depending on the match and many other variables. So a 15 amp power supply isn't going to cut it if you're going to run the full 100 watts out of your HF radio. A 25 amp power supply or a 23, the Samlex, my personal preference, if you're going to have a power supply just to run your HF radio and nothing else, the Samlex SEC 1223 is my power supply of choice, but anything equivalent to that would also be good. Also, if you're running on a battery, you need to make absolute certain that your feed line to the transceiver is not too long. If it's a longer than your typical 7 or 8 feet or so, you want to go to a larger gauge wire. And also your fuse holders, make sure that there's no resistance in your fuse holders and everything there to ensure that you can get full power out of your radio when you want it there, which is probably most of the time, unless you're driving an amplifier. And I drive my amplifier at at 75% there. So that's where I leave mine. Hope this helped you. 7-3.
Did you mention the VD meter with the voltage display?
You have a VHF
Whoa, whoa,
receiver
whoa, whoa,
hang on, at a rather congested tower site. How do I shut
Your
this
noise
off?
floor is in the low negative.
Okay. Well, do I what now?
The VD meter on the far right, that's the voltage display delivered to the transmitter.
Okay.
And there's a little red bar up there, starting at 10 volts, it comes up. And when you that bar, it's red. And when the voltage gets into the red, the radio's going to pop.
Yep.
And you can see it switch between transmit, it drops a little.
Right.
And then it comes back up. So
Right.
that's one of the things I watch as well. I
Okay.
love that display.
Very good.
Question for you. What's your amperage on the power supply? What amperage?
The particular one I was using for this test is a 35. It's a Samlex SM35 is what I was using. I've got my 70, in the shack here I have in Utah, I've got my 7300 and I've got, a half a dozen or more VHF, UHF radios, mostly Motorola commercial radios, and got FT8800 and a couple other things I run on it. So, you're typically only going to be transmitting on one at a given times. Once in a while, too, if you're coupling two radios together, patching two together, do that once in a while. But other than that, typically just one, so that's good. Question over there?
Yeah, I've run into many of these problems that you've been showing us. I run a Yaesu users group for 10 or 11 years here online. And the same problem comes back over and over again about the proprietary connector for the back of Yaesus. And the connections get, I'll call it corrosion for lack of a better word. It's really not corrosion, but the deteriorated connections. And it causes, just what you said, when you key up, it shuts down. And I've cleaned those connections and I've passed that along to our users group, and the question comes back over and over again over the years. But what can we do besides, I know cleanliness is healthiness, but besides cleaning it, is there something that we can do to help maintain those connections over a longer period of time?
Number one, I solder everything. I don't believe in crimping. I'm that old school. I solder my Andersons, even. I solder everything. And if anything that I do crimp, I fill it with solder on top of the crimp, number one for that. Also, anything else that that you cannot solder, you cannot crimp, such as something, this is more like house wiring with wire nuts or something. You want to just make sure that that wire nut's cranked on as tight as it can. Keep it as dry as keep all connections as dry as you possibly can. And like I say, fuses, especially, I've got a bunch of FT8800s, and that cheap little fuse holder they put in the 8800, transmit on that radio at 50 watts for 1 minute and wrap your hand around the fuse and you can feel the heat. I've replaced several of mine with spade fuses, with quality holders. Don't get the cheap Chinese fuse holders, get the good quality holders. And even this one here, that came from PowerWorks, and I've been swearing by PowerWorks for a while. That's PowerWorks product, and it even failed on me. I've had others of these PowerWorks under the same conditions and no problem at all. So my guess is something was not crimped tight down there in the holder to cause that thing to heat up. So even the quality stuff can fail on you, depending.
Those proprietary connectors are push-on connectors. They clip in and they push on and clip in. Pretty hard to bypass those or solder them. So, I mean, besides, like I say, cleaning those connections off, is there anything?
Make sure that the boy and the girl mates very tightly. Typically, the female, regardless of what makes up the female socket, no matter what makes it up, it can work its way loose. And so tiny little jeweler's screwdriver, anything like that can be put into the girl socket to kind of pinch it in a little bit so they'll have a happier marriage. we'll take care of a lot of those issues there. Same goes true with RF with SO239 connectors. Somebody else? Yes.
What about using a dielectrical grease?
Yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Absolutely. I want to touch on a couple. How's time? Oh, go ahead. Other question. Okay. Noji. 4 minutes. Oh, okay. I think I'm going to bag the other stuff then. I was going to touch on one other thing having to do with 120 volts or with AC power. I've learned this from tower sites. Typically, we're not going to get into grounding because the only thing I will advise for grounding due to liabilities and all that is follow the NEC electrical code as a minimum. Anything beyond that, whatever you want to do. But, okay. Oh, okay. Well, one thing that I've learned is most lightning issues come in on the common mode or on the neutral, especially if you have an above ground service drop. If you're going to get electrical damage from lightning, odds are it's going to come in on the common mode or the neutral. And an easy way to get around that and give you a lot better protection, if you have 240 volts available, run your equipment on 240 because you're isolated from that common mode. I do that myself in both of my ham shacks in Arizona and here. I run everything on a 240 circuit. I've been on many tower sites. Most land mobile commercial equipment, fixed stations you'll find on mountaintops run on 120. Most of them do. Most broadcast transmitters run on 240. I've been on many, and I've seen some of the higher power paging transmitters that I used to maintain would run on 240. I've seen tower site get a hit. I've seen every 120 volt breaker tripped and possible damage to some of the power supplies on some of this equipment. No damage whatsoever on devices that were running on 240 because it came in on the common mode. So, any other questions and I'm done. Larry, come talk about Anderson Power Poles and you can close it up there. Thank you for putting up with me.
Whether you solder, whether you crimp and solder, I'm all good with all of those. I only use 30 amp inserts. I only put 12 gauge wire into those inserts. I then crimp them. And once I've inserted them in, I give them a tug and I've not pulled out. Okay, with a proper crimp. I invested in a $40 crimping tool a long time ago. I love it. Okay, so 30 amp contacts, 12 gauge wire, and here's the key. Those assemblies love to go into their little square plastic housing, and they love to have enough clearance where they get crimped and where the insulation is that they will float a little in there. And if I have one that floats and the other that floats, they will self-align. And silver-plated contacts, 30 amp spring tension, got a good connection. Now, what you mainly have to do is strip enough insulation off the wire so you have enough to go into the insert, and you have bare copper wire coming out of the back of the plastic. That's when you take your heat shrink and you put it over the silver part, you push it back, and where you had insulation, you heat shrink, that stuff shrinks down. And so if you're trying to put it into the plastic holder and you find yourself doing click, it's way too tight and you're going to get screwed. Okay, so strip that off, step it down to just the wire, put it in, and if you can get that to float a little bit on both ends, life is good. By the way, there are knockoff Anderson power poles out there now. And if you're getting a really good cheap deal on them, guess what? And the way you can tell is on the very end of that Anderson that plugs in, there should be a little circle in the plastic with a little A showing. And if it's just plain, it's not an Anderson. 30 amp, 12 gauge, cut the insulation back, click them together, and it floats, and you're in good shape.
Okay, we're going to turn the time over to Wade again. We love him. He's going to do our door prize drawing tonight. So as soon as we get all the other tickets back up here, we'll let Wade start drawing tickets for us.
All right. Take you through the prizes. We have a Baofeng. I don't see what the model is.
UV5R.
UV5R HT. We also have a computer. Yes, an actual full computer. Doesn't come with a display, but it's a computer. We've got a signal stick, antenna, an ARLL membership, a club flashlight. Needs a new battery.
That's got a tab.
Oh, you gotta pull the tab out first. We have a DigiPi, a Anderson power pole adapter. So you can plug this in and then plug an Anderson thing into it, or you can plug in USB-C or USB-A. That's cool. We've got a Morse code bracelet here. Anyone want to come read what it says?
It has a slip on it.
It says, teach, love, inspire. That's awesome. Okay, we've got a Morse code bracelet and the Pocris J-pole. Okay, so the way this works is once you get called, if it's your ticket, you can come up and you get to pick whatever you want. Take one item, last one up gets what's the last thing is left. So here we go. And I'm just going to call the last three numbers on the ticket. 550. All right.
Remember to pose for Joe before you go. You leave.
What do you want?
Which one would it be?
I think I want the membership. There you go. Next up.
Hold it up. There you go.
553.
553.
In the back.
There we go.
Antenna. All right. 520.
All right, Mark.
Oh, that's me.
There we go. Awesome. Congratulations.
Do I want to add one?
Okay, he's taking the computer. 557. No, it's Mr. Anderson.
Hey, I'll take the DigiPi.
The DigiPi. There you go.
Come over here. Gotta come over here.
He wants your photo.
Gotta get your picture. Oh, hold up. There we go.
537. In the back. We've got an HT and an antenna and a flashlight and the bracelet and the adapter. He's going with the antenna.
All right, hold up. There we go.
506.
Somebody who got here earlier.
506.
Nobody out there?
Oh, that's me. Boy, the J-pole's already gone?
Yeah, somebody else is going to
I've got 6 or 8 for sale. Nobody really wants one. I'll take the power pole.
There you go. The adapter.
Hold up.
Yeah, this photo. 522.
522.
There we are, in the back. We've got a bracelet and a flashlight and an HD. He's taking the flashlight.
Hold up.
Yep. 544. Keith.
Oh, what do we got? We need another HT, right?
HT and a bracelet.
I don't need a bracelet. I'll give this to some
He wants your
deserving
picture.
kid.
He wants your picture.
Hold it up.
All right, last item. Number is 518.
518.
Anyone?
Anybody out there?
Nope. 530. There we go.
Hold it up. Hold up, there we go. All right, cool.
All right, that wraps it up for our meeting this month. We want to thank Orem City. They treat us so good, and especially Heath, their public safety officer for the city. He's the one that gets us into this room and takes care of all our needs, arranges for us to be over at the Senior Friendship Center. So if you see any of those guys, tell them how much we appreciate it, and we really do enjoy being in this beautiful building to do this for you. We are going to QSY over to Cafe Rio tonight. So if you're interested in a burrito and a place to sit down and talk to some of us, come and join us. Other than that, sorry about that. We'll see you next month over at the DIY night at the Senior Friendship Center. Thanks for coming out.